Hi everyone, Ryan here, Ion Capital Solutions. Today I'm here with Eric DeFeo. Eric, thanks so much for being with us today.
Hey Ryan, thanks for having me.
You got it, brother. You got it. So we're going to talk about Eric's experience here at Ion, how he started out, what the challenges were, the obstacles, how he overcame them, what the contributing factors were. Anyway, here's a great time to dive in. So Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself, your experience with business loan brokering before you joined us, what the experience initially was like when you first came in.
Yeah, coming into it, I had zero experience with business loan brokering. I knew nothing about it. It was a completely new career field for me. I knew absolutely nothing, and I actually did very little research coming into it. But I did a little bit of it. But I come across some of the Ion videos on YouTube, and I started watching them. From the information I got from those videos, I did a little more research on my own. And the more I learned about business loan brokering itself, the more it started to appeal to me. I was looking for something that I could do part-time or on the side, aside from my full-time job. And I was looking for something that was remote, something I could do pretty much from anywhere.
Hmm.
And this was exactly that. I mean, really, all I needed was a laptop and an internet connection, and I could do this from anywhere. So that's what started drawing me in closer into Ion. Yeah, and then I booked a call and got on, and we talked about it, and I learned more. And the more I learned, I said, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger on this. I'm moving forward. Let's see what this is all about. So that's how I got here.
Right, great, great. And so coming into the program, initial impressions, how was it getting started? I mean, you came in at a unique time, right? We've actually revamped our entire program since
Yeah,
last you joined, so we've made improvements. But what would you
yeah.
say the initial challenges were for you? And let's identify those obstacles first before we address how we dealt with them.
Yeah. And, at least for me, coming from a completely different career field, not having a background in this career field, the difficult part for me was wrapping my mind around some of the concepts, some of the terminology, and just feeling and learning what exactly this career field was. Learning the products, learning what you can do, what you can't do. I mean, there was really a lot to it. So coming into it with no background in it, everything was foreign to me. So I was starting from scratch.
Mm,
So some of the terms, the jargon or lingo you want to say specific to this industry, I had to learn all that and figure out what things meant. And there's a lot of acronyms being thrown around. So
right, right.
you know, learning the basics very very quickly was the biggest challenge for me
Gotcha.
initially. Yeah.
Right. And so, one of the things that we do, as you well know, to counter this is to pair you with a mentor that already understands all of this so that those challenges don't impede your progress live in the marketplace, right? When you first join, we throw you right into the marketplace. You start talking to clients, working with clients. How could you possibly communicate with them and get results if you don't speak that jargon, right? Like you had mentioned just a moment ago, that mentor, right, is
Yeah.
there for you. In this case, your mentor was Mark Hughes. So can you speak a little bit about that relationship and how it helped you overcome that hurdle?
Yeah, the mentor aspect of this program, I don't even know what to say. It's invaluable. The Mark Hughes specifically, he's a rock star. There's never been a question I asked him that he didn't know the answer to. If there ever was something he didn't know completely or through and through, he said what any mentor is supposed to say is, I don't know, but I'm going to get the answer for you. So anything I asked of him, even if it was a little bit later, it was always same day information. I got explanations, I got background. He would always point me to different parts of the training where go in and read this or rewatch this video. They cover that in there. So yeah, having Mark Hughes to guide me on this, the value in that, I don't know how to quantify. It was um, invaluable, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes is excellent. He does a great job. And, you know, this industry is really a trial by fire kind of thing. You need to be out there in the marketplace, experiencing all the nuance. there's nothing that really compare. I often use a quote for any of the boxing fans watching, right? Mike Tyson once said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And I think it's so true in any industry you try and dive into. It's like you can read the textbook cover to cover, right? Our kids do this. They go to school, they go to college, and they study. But once they enter the real world, it's like as much as that helps them, they're starting fresh, they're brand new. There's nothing that really can make up for experience. You need to accrue that knowledge over time. And that's the whole point of the mentorship program, right? Is that you have that person to hold you by the hand through the process so you can learn through time, right? Now, you and Mark, through your experiences together, you've closed several deals, right? Your most recent funded deal is nearly a $10,000 gross commission, right? And so
Yeah.
it's you don't need to know everything about the industry to put yourself in a position to earn like that, but you do need to surround yourself with experience and support to be able to sit at that table and convert, right? I mean, for you, obviously, it's been some time since you've been with us, right? But you've been chipping away at that knowledge, right, that you need, and over time sort of absorbing it. And I obviously, before we scheduled this testimonial, I had a conversation with Mark Hughes. Just, what do you think of Eric? How's he doing? Where's his strengths? Where's his weaknesses? And he told me that, when you first started, you were kind of had this shotgun mentality where you're going to attack any and all business. But now you've really kind of narrowed down to, who your ideal audience is, your ideal customer, right? The bread and butter product to offer them, right? And so now you've identified that. You just keep finding those people and stacking them up. And I think that is really the difference maker. I know that a lot of times people in this industry, they get stuck in client narrative, right? So I want $1 million, and my cousin's Jeffrey Bezos, and I did this and I did that, and so I need money and I need the results fast, and blah 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 blah. And the person on the other side of the phone, the broker, is like, oh, okay, whatever you need, and just send me these documents. And the lender says I need this and I need that, and they have no clue whether or not the deal's going to fund or why, and unrealistic expectations, and it just blows up and never goes anywhere. You've learned those lessons. You know what's going to go somewhere and what's not going to go. Can you speak a little bit to that part of the experience and kind of now what your ideal target audience is, the product that you like utilizing, and the questions that you're asking clients when you qualify them to make sure it's a good deal that's going to fund?
Yeah, initially, like you said, or like Mark Hughes said, I was chasing anything. Anybody that would talk to me or get on the phone with me, I was booking calls with them without very much pre-qualifying, so to speak, beforehand. But there were a number of reasons why I was doing it that way. One, I wanted to talk to as many people as I possibly could. But I also wanted to talk to people who were trying to do different kinds of things. So initially, anytime I would come in contact with anybody, whether it was through emails or social media or LinkedIn or however I make contact with them, I would book a call between them, Mark Hughes and myself. And the first few that we did, Mark Hughes pretty much did all the talking. I just wanted to listen and see what he said, how he handled calls, how he handled objections and questions, and how he kind of, steered the conversation.
Right.
So I did that at first, but like I said, we were jumping on the phone I was just putting on the phone with anybody. So after we would have these calls, he would, after we were off the call, he would talk to me. Hey, listen, this is what this person's about. This is what they're trying to do. Look for these, look for this. Try to avoid people who say this or trying to do that. So over the course of time of doing, 2 or 3 a week, sometimes listening to him, a little bit further down, I would interject if I had something to say once I got a little more comfortable. Eventually, I got to the point where I was doing the calls by myself. But initially, having Mark Hughes to do those, to do those calls and hear how he talks to people and how he presents the information to them and the questions he asked was invaluable. I mean, I learned within 3 months or so, I probably just listening to him do it, I was pretty confident on starting to do them on my own. And I did. Whether that was a mistake or not, I'm sure there's a lot of people who I wasn't able to do business with because there were questions I wasn't able to answer. Sometimes people don't like to hear, hold on, I'll get that answer and email you back or something. But looking back on it, it was good doing that way, because messing up or failing is a huge what's the word I'm looking for?
Right.
It's usually motivating, right?
Yeah, right.
So when I would get off a call with somebody and I would go, oh my gosh, that was a terrible, terrible call, I would remember the things I did wrong and I never did them again.
Yep.
So having Marcuse to listen to and see how he did things was huge. Being able to, with this program, being able to get out there and talk to people immediately, even when I didn't know very much, was hugely invaluable because I made a lot of mistakes at first and I learned a lot of lessons very, very quickly. So there's a lot to be said about doing it this way, as opposed to if you gave somebody a course and said, hey, listen, for the first month, do the first 6 chapters, and then you have a test, and then next month you're going to go through the next 6 and have a test, and then after about a year we're going to put you in there and you passed all the tests and we're going to put you out there. Well, that's a year of time when you're not really doing much.
Right.
So that ION's way of doing it, where they give you the information, you watch the videos, you go through the training, you're learning it, and then you're getting on calls with people and you're messing up. You're screwing things up. That it was just it was valuable. I really can't quantify how valuable that was. But it worked great for me. It forced me to learn faster, and it forced me to remember the things I did wrong so I didn't do them again. So
Sure.
the setup, the way ION is doing it, I think it's one of the best ways to go about it.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Right, it's the negative things in life that sculpt us, right?
Yeah.
The positive things just serve to encourage us and boost our ego, right? What are we really getting out of that, right?
Yeah.
Sure, we're encouraged and we feel, right, that we're getting results, but those negative things, right? The bruises, the cuts, the scrapes that you accrue in the field, those are the things, those are the stripes you earn, so to speak, that really teach you how to navigate. And there's no skipping that process. And I think in sales, period, a lot of people fail because they fear that part of the process. And when they get to that point, they don't like that feeling and they immediately want to shed the rejection and move on to something else because it's a negative feeling. But those that are headstrong and thick-skinned and embrace that part of the process and realize that's inevitable, and the sooner I go through it and get through it, the sooner I'm going to be on the other side, right, of the storm and understand how to handle it. And then I'll be one of those few who are successful at this as opposed to the many that fail. And people often ask me, right, how long is it going to take me to get results and whatever else. And I think that's such a loaded question because sales is a high turnover industry, period. And it's not because the skill set is high. It's because not everybody has the motivation, right? If we look at the top 1% in this country, right, or in the world, and we ask why are they so successful as opposed to the majority, right, that are, I won't say unsuccessful, but achieve less than those at that top 1%. We often think, oh, maybe it was handed to them, right, or whatever, or life's not fair. But the reality is those people who are in that position likely work their butt off to get it and then have to work every day after to keep it. And it's extremely difficult. Simply put, they're willing to do the things that most people aren't. They're willing to be uncomfortable. When things don't go well, like yourself, right? You're talking about the experience and the frustration, but being able to overcome it and put yourself there. And then when the negative occurs, you take it constructively and you embrace it and you move forward. Most people don't do that. Right? Most people buckle under that pressure or they want to point and blame, right? There's people who join the program the first time something doesn't work out. My team leader didn't do this and the training should be done this way instead of that way. And immediately they want to blame somebody, right? Instead of looking inward, I need to take a deep breath. I need to understand what I did wrong, how I can change. I need to embrace change and understand that the path may be different than what I'm used to. And I think those that are adaptable to that kind of environment and accept the challenge and take positive steps get results. And you're clearly one of those people. So anybody watching this at home and considering this, understand the skill set is what I just described. You don't have to have experience. Eric came into this with zero experience. You don't have to have experience, but you have to be willing to do the things I had just mentioned and have the mindset that Eric clearly has and is describing as we discuss, right? So thank you for that, Eric. So let me ask you, in terms of connecting with people online, filling up your book of business, your marketing efforts, right? I mean, we do everything organically here. We're not buying leads and cold calling. We're not paying for advertising. You're not shelling out money crazy trying to find new clients, hoping that that money turns into a closed deal. Not at all. It's free and it's exclusive because you're the one doing it, right? Tell us a little bit about the experience for you with that. How much time does it take you per day to really get that audience cooking, right? That book snowballing, and how long before you're able to hop on the phone with clients and start booking calls and that kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, initially, the time that it takes me to do things now is a little bit different than when I first started. Obviously, I have a better system now, and I work. I work in conjunction with my work, my full-time job. I have a better balance now. But initially there is a little bit of setup, but it's not much. Email campaigns was brand new to me. It was kind of foreign to me. And also doing a lot of this, the training is web-based, so some of that was a little bit new to me.
The navigation of the modules and
yeah, exactly, navigating your way through it and developing a style and how I wanted to do things. So initially getting all those things set up took a little bit of time, but actually I think I had all that squared away probably within a couple weeks. But after that first couple weeks, I mean, we hit the ground running. I gave as much time as I possibly could to the training, and I watched the videos. I read all the information, and I got out there and started talking to people. So after that first 2 weeks of setup, I mean, that from that point on, I hit the ground running, really. And yeah, and I think there's a lot to say about that. There's a lot of people out there who are probably like me. I learned better by doing things. You could sit me in a classroom for 8 hours a day teaching me something for the 2 years, and there's a lot of it that's just not gonna the concepts I'm not gonna grasp.
I'm the same way. I know what you mean. Yeah.
But once I get out there and do it, that's when I remember things. I learn better that way, and I learned, like I said, I learned better by making mistakes. That's when the information really, really sticks. So in this program, while there is a little bit of book work, got to watch some videos, you got to learn the terminology and some of the concepts. While there is a little bit of that, you're hitting the ground running, you're out talking to people, and you're applying what you're learning as you go. So that was hugely valuable, especially for me. That's the way I learn. And honestly, I can't think of any better way to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, no one wants to sit behind books for 6 months and then jump out. You want to get in there and make some mistakes and start doing it.
Sure.
So yeah, it's set up the way Ion does it is really the way to do it. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yes, I'm cut from that same cloth. I see the world the exact same way. And that's why I've designed the program the way it's designed, because I understand that that's the majority of people. We all remember when we were in school as kids, yes, there were the few, right, who could just sit there and listen to the teacher and then go home and read their textbook that night and ace the test. The majority of kids were not like that. We had to study, we had to be hands-on. And then there were even those who still didn't get results. They needed that extra attention. That's the way people are. So from my perspective, it's like, you know what? We can hold class all day long. Like I used to have these big coaching calls. You can see them on our YouTube channel where we have 20, 30, 50 people in a room, and I'll sit there and monologue and talk for an hour. People don't get results from that. You need to be active in the space, someone holding you by the hand, doing the job to accrue the knowledge over time, hands-on, and go through the challenges and the difficulty. And that's what then will imprint that information in your brain, right? And through routine, you'll get it. And then that data that you accrue through that experience will help you make informed decisions towards change through analyzing that data. And I think when people meet the challenge and they experience adversity, they take it negatively. We just talked about this, but if you take it as a positive and then you analyze that data and let the intelligence be granted from it, right? Okay, we learned this, we learned that. I should have bobbed when I weaved and whatever it might be, right?
Yep.
you realize now moving forward that you have the intelligence to go do it again better. And that's where you
Yeah.
get those results. And so that can't happen when you're studying and taking a test. It just can't. And
No, no, and
yeah,
yeah, and to go to the other point you made earlier, um, organic lead generation. You're not spending money like you said. We're not buying leads. We're not running Facebook ads. We're not running ads on Google, Bing, any of that stuff. There is the opportunity further down the line once you're established and you get to the point where you can work independently and this is what you know you're going to be doing. There are those
right,
opportunities down the road. However, with ION's program and the way they teach it, you don't need that. I didn't spend any money on advertising. I didn't spend any money on search ads like Google or Bing. I didn't have to spend money on any of that. You don't need money. We're not saying, okay, hey, listen, this is how you do this job, and here's how you create a Facebook ad and a Google ad, and
right,
it's going to cost you this much every day. And no, there's none of that. You don't need capital to get your foot in the door,
right.
learn the business, and start talking to people and closing deals. Absolutely not. That is extremely valuable the way ION does it, as opposed to some of the other ones I've seen out in the market now. So yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. You know, anybody who's looking to get into a business space immediately considers cost, right? What is this going to cost me? Not just initial startup, but then per month. And it's so many people I talk to that have already kind of been dabbling in this space. It's always the same story. I bought a blueprint. It said to build a website and sign up with some vendors and buy this CRM and buy leads here and do these ads. And I got all these little tools and it's costing me this much a month and I've spent all this money. And I say to them, you shouldn't have done any of that.
Yeah.
You were led down the wrong path. That's a waste of money. And it's unfortunate, you know, and there's simply a better way. So anybody watching this, stop the bleeding. Turn it off. Stop spending that money. You don't need to do that, you know? The other thing is you don't need to quit your job to do this either. Eric just said he's got a full-time job. This is his side hustle, right? If he wants to incorporate it into his part-time or his full-time one day, sure, that's entirely up to him. But there's no need to deal in extremities. You don't need to be extreme. You don't need to jump ship from one thing to the next. And it's not like that. You can ease into it. There's not a lot of time commitment. You just have to follow the system. You have to follow what it is we're describing here. You don't need all this money to get started. We provide all the things that you need. Anyway, thank you, Eric. Hit some great topics here. Yeah.
Listen, and a few things I want to touch on so I don't forget because I have them in my head right now.
Please do. Thank you.
Some of the people that this I think this is perfect for, college students. Going to college full time, especially if you're going to school away from your home, where you grew up, where your parents live. You're living on your own. You're living with a bunch of other people.
Right.
Having the ability to do this wherever you take your laptop, as opposed to having to go to a restaurant or some other business and work your 8-hour shift, is huge. If I would have known about this when I started going to school 20 some years ago, it would have been huge. I would have loved that. Also, anybody like me who has a full-time job wants another way to make supplemental income without having to go to work more, not working overtime shifts at your regular job. It is absolutely huge for it. That was another motivation or another motivator for me. My job has tons of overtime. So for the last 15 years, if I wanted overtime, it was there. Yeah. I could work as much as I wanted to. I could work on my days off, which for 15 years I did a lot of. But I got to the point where I said, you know what? I still want to make extra money, but I don't want to go to work more to make that extra money.
Right.
So that's why one of the reasons why it appealed to me. So if anybody has a full-time job and they don't want to work overtime shifts, this is probably perfect for you. Stay-at-home parent. Anybody who is a stay-at-home parent, one of a husband and wife, one of the people is working and the other one's staying home with the kids. It's perfect for that stay-at-home parent. You can do it from your house. Like I said, all you need is a computer and a laptop, a computer, and an internet connection, a cell phone maybe. But if you have a landline, you can swing it. You can make it work. So it's anybody like that. It's huge for. But also, if there's anybody who wants to get out of their full-time job and wants to do this full-time, well, you can do that too, because you're hitting the ground running pretty much from the start. You
Right.
don't have to spend 6 months sitting in courses and listening or watching videos and doing that for 6 months or 8 months until you can get out there and actually make money. You're making money within the first few weeks. You're meeting people within the first few weeks. You're going to talk to people within the first few weeks. So it's good for those people as well. But for the part-time people that I mentioned, huge, absolutely huge.
Great point. Thank you for that. Absolutely. That hits audiences hard. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, just like you said, parents, right? People, full-time jobs looking for a side hustle, even kids in college, right?
Yeah. Yep.
This is the perfect opportunity because, as you can see, your home office is all you need.
Yeah.
Hang out in your living room, on your iPad, whatever it is. I mean, you can do all this stuff from your smartphone, frankly. We use Google Drive for the back end of the business. I mean, literally, you could be on vacation on a beach with your cell phone in hand and have everything you need to get that ball rolling, you know?
I had, before I got into this, I had no idea, even when I started setting these things up using my my laptop, I had no idea that like you said, 99% of this stuff, if I don't have my laptop, I can still do it from my phone. I mean, our phones are basically mini computers at this point, right?
Yep.
So they have the same functionality that a laptop does. So 99% of this I can do no matter where I'm at, even if I only have my phone. The only difference you ever really will notice is if it's an email I'm sending, instead of my Ion signature at the bottom that it just shows when I send it from my laptop, it has the signature's different. It says my name, my phone number, sent from my Galaxy Note 10. That's the only difference you ever really notice, because we're sending documents. I can send them as attachments. I mean, to cell phone, you can do 99% of this with just a cell phone. So it was and I've had smartphones for probably as long as other people have. I wasn't smart enough to know what exactly it could do. So when I started with Ion, I learned a ton of things that my phone could do. I had no idea that it could do. So it's really anywhere you want, anywhere. You could do it on your lunch break at your job. It's
right. I mean,
great.
think about the time we spend every day scrolling through our phones, looking at the notification we got on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok.
Yeah.
Whoops, I didn't mean to click that. Whatever it is, it's just that simple. Again, we host the whole system on Google Drive. You're able to access it. So all you need is those apps on your smart device and be able to navigate. And it's pretty straightforward kind of thing. And I think there's a lot of people in the world who want to tap into this new age kind of thing, this new workflow. And, maybe you have a job, you've been working for 20, 30 years, and God bless you. That's a hard thing to do in this day and age, is have a job for that long. Nowadays, people are jumping from job to job, whatever it is, but you can tap into this online gig, this online thing, right? And make money from home, be able to use your phone in that way. It's really not difficult. You just need experience. You need to surround yourself with people that are already doing that. And that's what we're doing here at Ion. So anyway, a lot of great points here. Eric, thank you very much for attending the call and for everything that you said. And I really appreciate it. I think for anybody watching, a lot of their questions were probably answered. So we're going to wrap up the video here. But before we wrap up, just sort of a tagline for the program. Eric, your thoughts. If somebody's asking, Eric, what do you think? Should I join the program? What would your response be?
I would say absolutely, if you're thinking about it. I mean, if you're seriously thinking about it, if you've done research into other things or other programs, really give some serious consideration to Ion and their program and what they're doing. It's vastly different than all the other programs that are out there. The other programs, at least the ones that I've researched before I started with Ion, there is no follow-up support after you get the course and read the material. And after that, there's no support. I see these people in the Facebook groups asking for help, and they've had this other course, and I'm like, well, I'll answer their questions, but you're just going to be left out there all by yourself with nobody answer your questions. So the program, as it's set up, is very, very valuable. You're going to learn this information very, very quickly. You're going to get out there and talk to people very, very quickly. And the way Ion has things set up, it really doesn't get any easier than that. Your mentor is there to answer all your questions, and usually they're only a text message away. And in the Facebook group, if you have a question, you post it. I might answer it. Marcuse might answer it. Anybody else in, Ion will jump in and answer the question. They have no problem with it. So the support is huge. The training is good. You're going to get out there. You're going to learn it, and you're going to be successful. I pretty much guarantee it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Eric. If you want results and you join Ion, you just got to do what Eric did. He guarantees that you'll get results as long as you do your part, as long as you're consistent, as long as you put in the time. If you do, you'll close deals. It's not rocket science. You just got to be consistent, be hungry, stick with it, and leverage the support of your mentors and the experienced people who are long in this industry, making money every day. Ion Capital Solutions is a traditional loan brokerage. We make our money by funding deals. We're not selling a blueprint, okay? We're an actual brokerage. We're real brokers, and if you want to be one, come join us. With that being said, thanks everybody for watching. Eric, again, thank you. Really appreciate you being here. We'll catch you in the next video.